Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from My Staying Gamers, and welcome. So today I'd like to welcome you aboard the Everon. Now, I've been working quite hard to get this ship finished, and it's the first ship that I've built that uses pure hydrogen to power it. So we've not actually got any standard sort of thrusters, we've just got hydrogen thrusters, and this made for a lot of really difficult decisions when building this. Now, if you think about it, one hydrogen thruster, if we just hover outside, I'll give us a tour in a minute. One hydrogen thruster here will burn through a whole tank of hydrogen in around 5, maybe 6 minutes. And if we just scroll around the back here, you can see just how many thrusters we actually need to make the ship fast enough to count it as reasonable for a sort of survival stance. This amount of hydrogen thrusters will also allow us to blast off from any sort of planet we find ourselves in, so it will become extremely useful. Now, just remember what I said before, each one of these hydrogen thrusters on one tank is going to be burned for about 6 minutes. So we're going to need a lot of hydrogen tanks, and on top of that, we're going to need a lot of ways of producing hydrogen. So let's get started by having a look around this ship. Now, you'll notice that there's an extra large sort of cockpit giving a great view to any crew members that are aboard, and if you're going to build yourself a massive glass cockpit like this, I can strongly recommend reinforcing it with some armor blocks, so in case one area is sheared off, you don't lose the whole of the cockpit window and the whole of the crew inside are exposed to whatever's shooting at them. Now, pulling back a little bit, you can see we've got 2 thrusters there on the top, and we wrap around to a triple level thickness armor with 2 rocket launchers on the top. I've not overly armed this thing, I just kept it light since it's a scout ship, it's going to be jumping in and out, just needs a bit of protection to fend off any pirates or people who are giving it a bit of an harassment. Now below you can actually see we've got the hangar that's tucked away and it's protected quite well by the cockpit above, shielding it. We've also wrapped around a triple layer thickness armor, and then the airlock is recessed inside. Now if we work away along the side, you can actually see we've recessed more thrusters to protect them. So the idea of this is even if the thrusters on the outside get shot up, you've got that much armor in between them and these ones, that these will still allow you to continue scouting the area and get back to the main base. So as we pull it around the back, you can see we've changed the nacelle sort of engine pod, and it comes out to this massive thrust pack. Now on maximum burn, this whole engine will pretty much burn through the fuel in a matter of 10 or so minutes. I've got lots of hydrogen cells in the back, but the best idea to pilot this thing is get up to maximum speed, cut the power to the engines and glide, and just use it for slight course adjustments when you need to. That's going to be one of the problems with using a pure hydrogen ship of this scale. Anyway, let's just have a quick wrap around. You can see on the bottom, quite simple, quite flat. And then up on the top, we've just got this ribbed sort of design, designed to really give maximum sort of armor protection using as little blocks as possible. Very interesting indeed, but let's actually have a look inside. So welcome to the bridge of the Everon Hydrogen Scout Ship, or EHS for short. I'm going to take you around this, show you some of the features that I've added, and I've tried to make this as helpful and useful for crew members and the captain to quickly reference these screens. So you can see we've got 6 quick reference screens that are going to keep them out of the menu and allow them to spot them targets approaching, evade missiles without getting all clogged up in hundreds of menu screens and other information like that. They can just access things with a press of a button or a quick look to the left or right. Now to the front, since I built this without building the exterior first, it allowed me to get this really large sort of cockpit. So you can see we've got this large cockpit bay on this side, another one on this side. And what's great about these, if I quickly access this seat, is just the field of view you get. Now up to the top it is limited, but below to the right you can see we've got a massive ship or something off there in the distance as well. We can just look and have this great sort of field of view. Obviously these cockpits are weak and vulnerable because they're on a piece of glass, but you actually have 2 more backup cockpits here, as well as backup cockpits in various locations. Now coming up these catwalks at the side, we actually have access to the gunner's bays, so if a member of crew wants to manually control the turrets, they can come up here, grab control of there, and they got instant access to the turrets around the ship that are listed. So that's just a pretty cool feature. And in the center we have a gravity generator, and underneath there we have a projector. Now the idea with the projector is multiple use. I can project a mission briefing up here, or I can project a ship down in the hangar and use the welders to actually print that up. So that's all using one projector, saving a bit of power and resources, not that much. So we'll open up this area and it leads us to the jump drive room. That is quite important for any sort of scout ship. Once again, we've got more quick reference screens and we've got access to the lower deck there. We also have access to the airlocks, so these airlocks will take us directly outside, and each one of these airlocks we've got lockers so you can store away personal belongings and equipment, as well as suit access as well, so you can change your suit and other sort of factors. You can see we've got hydrogen thrusters out there, and it just leads us outside. Once again, I'll pop the door so you can actually have a quick look. So there we go, it leads us to that shielded area behind the thrusters of the ship, so we'll close that back up. and we'll enter inside. So that's to the lower deck, and in here is the refinery room. Now the refinery room on the ship is not too important. The refineries are not necessary to actually produce the ice that's needed, since well, the ice into oxygen and hydrogen, because we can do all that with the oxygen sort of system. So back here we've just got refineries and assembles, and we've got some more simple information for quick reference. And cutting back here, we've got another cargo storage crate, and I think it's great to have these all over the place, so your crew members can just come over, drop stuff in, and place it into the system in the inventory. You can also see we've got a catwalk up here, so you can stand here. Maybe the captain could be nice and proud, and you can stand and have a look at his people working in the refineries and processing different materials and ores. Now over here we've also got a trapdoor. These are just great for if you're cutting through the ship really fast. You can just close one of these up. You need to keep these closed though, because otherwise you'll fall down them. So we'll just seal that up, and we can actually access the rear reactor room. Now there is 2 hydrogen storage rooms aboard the ship. We've also got reactors in here as well, and the idea of these is they've been reinforced with 3 or 4, maybe even 5 layers of armor in some areas, because I think the hydrogen tanks are extremely dangerous. I mean, in this current build they don't seem to explode too much, but I reckon in later sort of builds they're going to be a lot more vulnerable, maybe even blow up. I don't know, maybe sitting on a massive hydrogen bomb here, but who knows. So you can see we've got the other hydrogen tank in that position, and we'll walk back down the sides. So if we look down there, we can see more of the inner workings, the hundreds of oxygen generators we've actually got down there, refining the ice and turning it into the hydrogen we need to power this hydrogen. It bloody sucks hydrogen out of anything. If you're on an ice planet, then you're probably going to be my best friend, because I'm going to suck your planet dry of ice and just leave you probably with just a bit of rock and melting metal, and that'll be it. But coming back down here, we have access to the lower deck. So you can see we've got viewing points here. And once again, I just stuck in these quick access doors, so the crew members don't have to fuss around going down 100 ladders. They can just pop down and jump into the hangar bay. Now we're in the hangar bay, just like that. We've got 2 more airlocks with another little cool submarine door. And behind here, we have a space suit, and we have 2 lockers for storage. So just quite a simple design, but I just like the idea of how it's ended up turning out. Close that door back up, and we'll open up the hangar bay. Now these hangar bays can be opened up separately or together, like I've done here. So that'll take us to the outside, and this back one will take us to the secondary building area. So here we have a quick construction area. If you're ever building a construction area like this, it's quite useful to have these collectors below, so if you drop parts, it just collects back into the system and processes back into the cargo containers. So you can grab your supplies, build your ship, weld it up, all in one area, quite neat and compact. Now coming to the back, we're onto our second hydrogen storage room. We've got the nuclear reactor here. We have access to these lower areas as well, where we've got another programming block that is running the hydrogen program. So basically it'll take all the ice out of the system and try to put it into all the oxygen generators, and you just see the mess we've actually got here. I tried to make this as neat as possible, and I tried to follow some sort of blueprint, but it ended up just being stuff as many oxygen cells as well as oxygen production farms in here. You see we've got oxygen production farm, all over the place, pretty much all across the back here, all down the walls, and there is about another 100 or so oxygen farms in both of the nacelles on both sides of the ship. Anyway, I thought it'd be quite interesting to show you this hydrogen ship. We're going to take it for a quick test drive. So let's take the ship for a final sort of test drive. We've got the quick reference screens. We're in the bridge here, and I'm just going to see how fast this ship accelerates. So first off, let's just hit W, and we'll see how fast it gets to that 104 meters a second. It seems very fast for a ship of that scale, and we're already there. So you can see the hydrogen thrusters have now been shut off, and we're just drifting through space at that speed. And if I wanted to be a little bit more fancy, I could probably shut off the individual hydrogen thrusters so they're not even burning on an idle sort of state. Anyway, we'll try to stop the ship. So stopping, I'm going to bet, is going to take a lot longer, since we've got less hydrogen thrusters on the front than we do on the back. So you can see we're slowing down, and it's probably burning up a lot of fuel to meet us at that level. I could probably even spin the ship around and stop us a lot faster as well. But there we go, we're back at idle at 0 meters a second. Let's check our handling to see how it works. So we've got quite a slow gyroscope, turn to the left, still quite fast. We'll give it a little bit of thrust as well, combine that in. But we've got a very sort of agile, fast moving ship, accelerating up to that 104 in a matter of seconds. That's really important, I think, for a scout ship. And we can also hit them jump drives at this maximum velocity, jump into a sector at 104 and get out of there as fast as possible if there is danger when we arrive. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and hopefully it's inspired you maybe to think of your own sort of pure hydrogen ship designs. At this stage, it's a little bit inappropriate and it burns a lot of supplies, but who knows, in the future of planets, you might need ships just like this to achieve different goals. Anyway, I'll see you next time.